Hello YouTube, Oliver here from the Earful Tower podcast. In fact, you're going to hear a podcast right now from when I spent a full day in the 6th arrondissement, and what you're going to see is nothing more than a delightful walk through the Jardin de Luxembourg, one of my favorite gardens in the whole universe. So here's a snapshot of it in 2024 in all its glory. This YouTube season is brought to you by Live Tours. I asked them for their recommendation, their top recommendation, the 6th arrondissement. Here's what they said. The posh left bank. This is Luxe Paris, and it's heaven for high-end shoppers, window gazers, and art collectors and appreciators. The cafe culture in the 6th is on point, and we recommend you put on an outfit that makes you feel fashiony and go for a coffee at a cafe in this neighborhood. You can choose between the two most famous ones, Les Deux Magots and the Café de Flore, mere steps apart, or you can go a bit more local and stop by one of our favorites, Maison Fleuret coffee shop. Maison Fleuret used to be a bookshop, and it maintains those lovely booky feelings. Once you're caffeinated and inspired, consider strolling across the Seine River to join us for a private guided tour of the Louvre. Be sure to book in advance. Thank you to Live Tours for sponsoring the show. I've added links below to both Maison Fleuret and Live Tours' private tours of the Louvre and their family-friendly versions too. Check them out if you want to really experience Paris with some experts. Live Tours, Livtours. Now, let's get into the 6th arrondissement. Let's enjoy more of this walk through Luxembourg Gardens, and let's hear what Lina and I had to say after we explored this arrondissement. Let's do it. Hello everyone, you're listening to the Earful Tower podcast, the Paris Countdown, where we go from the 20th arrondissement down to the 1st. Who's we? It's me, Oliver G.
And me, Lina Norden G.
Now, you don't have to do this, Lina, but everybody else, close your eyes.
I'm doing it too.
Okay, Lina's doing it too.
Yeah.
Also, if you are driving, if you are running, if you're operating heavy machinery, don't close your eyes. Everybody else. Lina, you again.
I'm peeking.
Now imagine Paris, the Paris that you think about when you're sort of trying to escape to a happier place. You got that in your head?
Sure.
Yeah? You've just imagined the 6th arrondissement. The 6th arrondissement, which is the subject of today's episode, it's the kind of Paris, the famous, old, left bank, beautiful streets, art galleries, cafe terraces, cute little museums, and of course the Luxembourg Gardens. That is what you were surely just imagining.
Surely, right?
Bordered by the Seine River.
Beautiful.
And that's where we spent an entire full, very packed day. And what we're going to do is we're going to tell you the vibe so that you know what to expect if you're going to visit, though I think a lot of people know. And then you're going to hear an interview from a famous resident. And then you're going to hear us talking about some of the things we did and what we think you guys at home should check out too. Lina, are you ready?
I'm very ready.
Well, let's start with some music. Another song by Press Maxim.
Another smacker.
Another smacker from Press Maxim, our resident DJ.
Sure.
So I don't know, we haven't talked about what he does for a while, but he plays all the instruments.
Yeah.
If anyone new around here, he, at least last time we talked to him, he said that he just listens to the song a couple times and then remembers it.
Yeah, I don't know how he does it.
He's a savant.
Yeah.
He says this week for the 6th, it's a song appropriately titled Jardin du Luxembourg by Laura. Capitalized Laura.
Laura?
Yeah. The stage name of German jazz singer and CNSM student. That's the Conservatoire National Supérieur de Musique et de Danse de Paris. Gosh, lucky that they shortened
Very
that.
French.
Laura Kipp. And he says, trying to represent the legends in this earful season, as well as the up-and-comers. Personally, I was struck by how gorgeous this song was. He gave me the perfect excuse to dust off my trumpet. There's more. He says, for all the eagle-eared listeners, what song about the Six would be complete without resident musical hero Charles Aznavour? He was born in the Six, lived in the Six, memorialized in the Six, and in the YouTube version of this song, so the full version, listen for a nod to his song Emmenez-moi.
Oh my god, I love this.
Well,
so in-depth, so researched.
Emmenez-moi is one of my most favorite songs of all time.
Yeah.
So, okay, thanks, Prez, another great song. And he's touched on some of the vibe. He's sort of got us going here.
Definitely.
He mentioned jazz.
Jazzy left bank.
Yeah.
Intellectual.
And international. Yeah, because a lot of, kind of like Montparnasse, which we covered in the 14th arrondissement, a lot of the thinkers and the musicians and so on were kicking around in the 6th arrondissement. What I think we should do is, instead of us start off by explaining the context and the vibe of it, let's turn to a favourite guest of mine, John Baxter, the author, Australian author. He's lived in the 6th arrondissement for 30 plus years.
He knows.
We met in the cafe called La Palette, which was recommended by someone else I'm going to mention a little bit later in the episode. So I'd never been there before. Beautiful old... Did you go inside there?
No, I didn't. We just walked past, but it's one of the classic spots, isn't it?
And I think we'd sat at the terrace once many years ago, but the interior is really old school, beautiful, definitely underrated, I think. A lot of people go to some of the other cafes we'll talk about later. I sat there with John. We had 2 café crème. And it was funny, actually. I only just thought of this now.
Yeah.
When we sat down, there was music playing, and the song that was playing was Emmenez-moi by Charles Aznavour.
Stop it.
And
really?
I went and asked him to turn it down.
No.
Yeah. For the interview.
Of course.
Because I don't want
Charles
Charles Aznavour...
So you can't hear it in the background?
No, I hope not. I don't want Charles's people suing me.
Oh, yeah. Fair enough.
So here you go. Here's John Baxter, the Australian author, prolific author, who's been a local resident for decades.
Take it away, guys.
John Baxter, lovely to see you again.
Lovely to see you, Oliver, as always. 2 Australians together, the other side of the world.
Sitting in a Paris cafe.
Exactly. We've made it. It's not King's Cross, but,
I was thinking it might be nice for me, but also for everyone listening, to get a bit of context about the 6th arrondissement. So you lived here for over 30 years. You spent a lot of time walking the streets of the district. For the people who've never been here, don't know anything about it, can you explain this district for me, the 6th arrondissement?
Well, it's huge, of course, and it contains mini districts. It has the Luxembourg Gardens, it has Montparnasse, and it has Saint-Germain-des-Prés. So really, you're talking about a kind of Disneyland in a way, of different rides, different locations. I find it fascinating because it's the old arrondissement where the foreigners used to come. They used to call this the quarter, in the sense of the native quarter, or the sort of diplomatic quarter, because within the Sixth you didn't have to speak French. Everybody was so used to working with foreigners that you could depend on people understanding what you meant. Also, you could hire people very cheaply to do, look after your house and do your cooking and everything. So it was perfect for foreigners.
Are you talking about like in the 1920s kind of?
Yeah, from the late 19th century all the way up through into the 50s, it was like that.
Okay.
Yeah, this used to be the cheapest place in Paris to live. Now it's the most expensive.
Well, this is the context I was really interested in learning about from you, because I know you've written a lot about a lot of the old authors, the old Paris. These guys, Hemingway and co., they wouldn't have been hanging around here today, would they?
Hanging around here, no. In Montparnasse, yes. But Montparnasse is a kind of a long way from here. This area, Saint-Germain-des-Prés, was pretty well entirely French. The small rooms, little cafes, little hotels. Then you got the Luxembourg, the big park, and then you got Montparnasse, which was like, it was kind of the going to Chinatown. Let's go and look at the weird bohemians. And the big cafes were there. People hung out in the cafes. Tourists would go there. there because, everybody spoke English. And so the vibe was very different. It was exotic, intentionally exotic. It's fascinating from a historical point of view, Montparnasse. Down here, it's more kind of the where I live. This is a cafe, the Palette. One comes into here frequently. One goes to the various other cafes. One does one's shopping. This is my home village in a way, Saint-Germain-des-Prés.
With the new Charles Aznavour statue.
That's right.
That you're not a fan of.
Oh, I don't mind Charles Aznavour. I don't like the statue. It's just a kind of heart, not even a bust. It's a head on a plinth. It looks to me like a shrunken head, actually. But it's true. He was born on Rue Michel Le Prince. He deserves a monument. Why not?
Did we ever talk about? Did you see him walking around before?
Aznavour?
Yeah.
No. Before my time.
Oh, okay. But he only died fairly recently, though, right?
Yeah, quite recently. But he wasn't very mobile for a long time. His great days were the 60s and 70s. And he didn't hang around here very much. He's mainly known as the Montmartrois.
There are a lot of tourists here. I initially suggested that you and I meet at Café Procope. You snorted so loud, I thought there was an elephant on the other side of the phone.
Well, yeah, I don't like the Procope. The Procope boasts that it's the first cafe in Paris, but it wasn't. It was what they called a relay. It was a place where you waited to get on a coach to take a big trip, down to Lyon or something like that. So maybe while you were waiting for the horses to be put in the shafts, you would get a drink or something like that. But it wasn't a cafe. Cafes are really a development post Haussmann, post the 1870s, when for the first time there were sidewalks, and therefore people would go out and walk. Up until then, only about 20% of the streets of Paris were paved. The rest were dirt. So you didn't go out, and therefore, what would you want a cafe for?
True, interesting. Okay, time's running away. I want to ask one last question. If there's one thing I should see in the 6th district, what is it?
Well, it's probably the Luxembourg, and it would be... Well, everybody likes the Medici fountain. It is rather beautiful. But backed onto the Medici fountain is another older fountain with a very erotic bas-relief of Leda and the Swan, which I think is sublime. When it was put up, the idea, they tried to ban it because it was salacious and it would give people the wrong idea. Little gems like that are scattered through the Luxembourg, and it just makes it so fascinating, really.
Perfect answer, John. Thanks for your time, as always.
My pleasure, as always.
So first thing I must say about what Baxter said, sometimes, not often, when a guest says something to me that I disagree with, I'm like, well, that's wrong, but I'll let it slide. And it turns out he was right about something, but he said that the 6th arrondissement is very big.
Yeah.
I was thinking, Baxter, it's tiny. But the truth is, statistically, it's one of the smallest arrondissements. It's like it's the 5th biggest. Mm-hmm. So number 1 to 4 are the smallest. Then the 6th is the 5th smallest, or whatever.
Yeah.
And I was like, you're wrong there, Baxter. Until that evening where we went from one end to the other. It is actually quite big.
It was way bigger than I thought.
Yeah.
It reached out all the way to Montparnasse almost.
That's it. It's like, it is. Montparnasse starts in the 6th and then sort of carries on over to the other side.
It's like way bigger.
Yeah. But anyway, I'm interested in what you think about the vibe. You who've...
Me?
Yeah. Did you like it?
Well, I love it.
Yeah.
Any excuse to go to the 6th and hang out for a day is that's ideal for me.
Is it
I love
because of the gardens, or?
I love the Luxembourg Gardens. I think it's got it all, with the tennis courts, you got the chess players, you got people reading, you got people it's just everything. It's so great. But also the little shops, the antique shops and the galleries, and it borders the Seine, so you got the bouquiniste by the Seine, and you got great cafes. People watching it's like on point.
On steroids, I was gonna say.
Yes.
Do you think,
it's got it all.
Is it different to the 7th, you think?
It feels more condensed. Well, now I didn't really take into account like that it's so big, and I feel like most of the action is towards the Seine.
There's a big kind of chunk. Oh, we didn't talk about geography. Just to paint the picture for anyone out there who, I think everybody knows where it is. But
yeah, so this is left bank.
Yeah, and
still.
left bank is like you get Paris. You put a big line horizontally through the middle. That's the Seine River.
This is
sort of right in the bullseye.
Yeah.
Underneath it is the 5th and 6th, and we were in the 6th.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's quite long and thin. So to get to Montparnasse at the south end of it, we took the scooter.
Yeah.
It probably is 10 minutes drive.
Yeah, something like that.
So it'd be a long walk, but it'd be a nice walk.
But yeah, if you want a really nice walk, definitely keep to the river side of the whole arrondissement. What do you think?
Well, I was just going to say before, compared to the 7th, it feels like if you took the 7th and shrunk, you know,
like freeze packed.
That's what I was going to say. I just couldn't think of the word. Like when you, if you freeze
or like
packed,
vacuum.
yeah, vacuumed all the air out of the boulevards and the sidewalks.
Exactly, just like tight.
That's what that's exactly what it is. And more cafe terraces, definitely, because it felt like
less residential. I mean, it is, but
there's probably the same amount of people or whatever, but it feels like the 7th is full of people living, whereas the 6th is full of people going out for a drink or coffee. And there's just, if you were a photographer, I think it'd be a dream, even if you're an amateur photographer.
Yeah, I don't think you can't fail.
Point and shoot, done.
Yeah.
Luckily, we brought our photographer along, and Augusta, and she did an exceptional job.
As always, but especially this time.
She captured
There's so much content.
The only thing remaining is to talk about what we did.
Describe our perfect day.
And, well, it was hard because we talked about this. When we were in the 20th arrondissement, it felt like we were kind of searching for 10 things to do.
Oh yeah, we really search for like the highlights.
Like the coffee shop.
Yeah.
We couldn't find a coffee shop, and then we found the Dancing Goat at the last minute. We're like, this is great. Whereas now that we're in central Paris, it's a lot harder because just famous old cafes, there are sort of 3 or 4 that are intensely like world famous Paris cafes. So we can't go to all of them.
Yeah.
So it was a whole different kind of thing. But guess what, everybody? We managed.
We managed well. But yeah, about what you said about the 20th, like back then we struggled, but you know, we kind of went out of our way to try to find like all the highlights, and now we're like struggling to find the bad sides.
That's true. When I was doing the points, we can talk about this later, but I was trying to find ways to tax it.
Exactly. It's like, it is rather big.
And I'm going to do a little explainer. It might sound like we're saying there's nothing to do on the 20th, but what we're trying to do, I'm preempting an email.
Comparatively.
I'm preempting an email here. What like we're trying to find a mix of famous things that everybody should see, and sort of the unknown stuff. Whereas in the 20th, if we were to find 10 things, it's going to be mostly unknown things. That's what we mean. So we did a heap of things,
jam-packed.
Yeah, so we're gonna have to go through it quick. We can't really spend long on anything here, but I think we go through everything was a highlight. Nothing was bad this time.
No, nothing.
It was kind of a perfect day.
Yeah.
So we started at the Café de Flore
for breakfast.
You got 2 choices there: Café de Flore or Les Deux Magots.
And then next to each other.
I've always felt Les Deux Magots is a bit faker.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've always just felt.
Yeah, I'm always more drawn to Flore. I don't know why.
Me neither.
Yeah, it's just one of those things.
It was very basic.
Might be the color scheme. I don't know. Yeah. It just feels warmer somehow.
You know what? I can find a criticism. I ordered an egg. By the way, us ordering eggs was a funny thing.
Oh yeah, we can't pronounce it.
Well, I didn't think it was that. I think it's more like I don't know all the words for all the different ways for eating an egg. So first, you couldn't pronounce it very well, I think.
I was like, je prends une F.
Yeah, you didn't know if you pronounced the F.
He's like,
I thought you were hesitating.
Yeah.
You were hesitating before ordering the pancakes.
So bad.
But then I was like, because everyone at home, I think I speak a bit better French than my wife. So I'm like, I'll take an F.
Yeah, you were so confident.
Yeah, and he goes, how do you want that egg? And I never order eggs, so I didn't know how to say hard boiled or fried or I just couldn't think of the words, or scrambled. Right now, I couldn't think of any of the words. So he's going through the options. I was like, I don't know
you
what I
just pick
want.
one.
But my criticism was I did ask for a ham on it, and it never came. So there's a point off for the
there's a point.
But one thing I did like was we had crème, a cafe crème or cappuccino, whatever, and they have the word Café de Flore on it.
Yeah, it's like
in the
stenciled.
froth.
I don't know how to do it.
Good
but
branding.
Very
good
cool.
branding.
Very Insta-friendly.
Also, a big shout out to Lily Heisey, who bumped into us there.
Yeah.
Made us feel like celebs.
Yeah, Lily Heisey.
Yeah. So hi Lily, if you're listening. We went on to the Musée Delacroix. This guy, Monsieur Delacroix, an artist in the 6th.
Yeah, he kind of became a bit of a reoccurring character.
It's cool when there's, because some people think there aren't themes to arrondissements. They're like it's an administrative area. There's no theme to it. But look, Delacroix, old mate Delacroix, he has his old house there, his museum. His work is featured in the Saint-Sulpice Church, which I just realized we also went to. I didn't write it down.
There's also a big statue or fountain by him in Luxembourg Gardens.
Yeah. He's all over the place.
Yeah.
Delacroix.
Yeah. That museum.
The museum was great.
It's small.
Yeah, but it's got a little private garden.
Yeah.
It's very beautiful.
So don't make the mistake, which I've done the first time I went there. I only thought it was like the first room. You have to go outside and down like a little staircase into the garden, and then you can pop into his atelier, which is cool.
And they've got different exhibitions on, so it's almost not worth us talking about the animal exhibition that's on.
No.
Because it's going to change. But I will say it because there was a tiger in there from Des Rôles.
From last week.
Where we met last week.
Yeah.
Paris is coming.
I know, it's cool.
It's a cool museum, but we're not going to froth on about like we did about the Nissim de Commando and the 8th.
It's not the same, like, at all.
But it's worth, if you're into the atelier, the houses of the famous French people.
Yeah, and if you're in the area, it's definitely worth a little
You know why
visit.
else?
Why else?
The Furstenburg Square out the front.
Oh, yeah.
One of the most photogenic squares and unknown, I feel. Like it's not crowded with
Well, it's
tourists.
very small.
Yeah. It's like a little roundabout with beautiful big trees and lampposts. Put it this way. Go to that square.
Yeah, it's very charming.
Thank me later. From there, we split up actually. And I haven't really told you about some of the stuff that happened. Because you went home to put the baby to sleep.
Yeah.
I went back. I had a really cool hour here. I went first to the Buly perfumery, which you recommended to me.
Yeah.
I just wanted to see, which I do. That's my life in Paris, going into place. And usually I would speak French, but I went in there. I said, there's like 4 women working there. I said, does anyone speak English? And this woman comes forward and she says, hi, I'm Katie. And I go to say who I am, and she goes, "And you're the Earful Tower." So if you're listening, Katie, thanks for making me feel like a celeb for the second time in the day. But she explained to me it's this cool old story. It's a beautiful, beautiful perfumery.
Oh yeah, it's
fairly
all like
new, but they've taken an old brand that's 200 years ago and revived it and sort of really decorated.
Oh,
it
looks wonderful. It's got the vibe of like an old pharmacy with the dark wood and like the ancient painted looking ceiling.
Lovely ceiling.
And a lot of big glass jars with all the little different oils and like powders and things. So they do a lot of custom, or maybe everything's like custom. You build your own fragrance, you build your own, face mask or your own oil or your own.
And they've got the pump, the things you pump to
like
smell
a diffuser.
Yeah, in like a test tube spiraling kind of thing.
Oh, it's all
kind of fun.
so good.
It's
And the
picture
staff,
perfect.
they're all dressed in beautiful, like black pleated skirts and black sweaters with a white little Peter Pan collar. Oh, is this
And they're all trained in calligraphy. Did you know that?
Really?
Katie told me.
Oh.
So go and check that place out. Lena went back after I recommended it to her.
Yeah.
And got, what did you get?
I got a lip balm that you could choose, like customize the box that it comes in, and you can get it monogrammed, which I love. I don't really know why, but I love it. So anything monogrammed, I'm in.
LNG.
Yes.
Lena, not in G. You know what I did after? I was looking through the window and I see across the road that Edouard Manet, who some of his work we saw in the Musée d'Orsay the week before as well, he lived there. Popped across the street because the door was open, a workman was going in, made friends with the Gardien.
Oh my God.
He lived on the first floor.
And?
Manet, not
You met
the Gardien.
him? No.
But it was a really good door knocker. Exceptional, golden snakes. Go and check that out too. And then I did something else we haven't talked about. I went to a hotel with a very average name. It's called L'Hotel. The hotel.
That is hard to find on Google.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That's true. But there's a way to find it that's easier, because I don't think I'd ever walked down the street, but I saw the sign saying this is where Oscar Wilde lived up until his death. And I'd heard about this place before.
Yeah.
And when we were doing the hotels for this season, I was thinking we should stay in that room because I'd heard that they'd made it a sort of memorial to him.
Yeah, a bit of a museum almost.
Yeah, I haven't read all of his work or anything. I read a couple of his books. Love the guy. Seems very, very talented indeed. But it's not like, I think the people who are deep fans of his should seek out this room. But I had always wanted to check it out. So you know what I did?
Tell me.
I went in and I said, hey, can I see it? And he said, yeah, I'll show you. I told him how it was. I flexed a bit to get in so I could share this with
Katie
everybody.
around the corner recognized me. You want to talk to her?
I said, when I was sitting in Café de Flore this morning, Lily walked up as well. This guy's like, what are you talking about? I'll let you in. I'll let anyone in. But I went up there and I took lots of pictures and videos to share with everybody so you can see as well. But beautiful old room. They've really made it Oscar Wilde. So they've put pictures of him. They've put, I think it was letters that he'd written framed on the wall, that kind of stuff. And it was very exceptionally unusual kind of room. Like it was hard. It's hard to describe, but they had these walls that looked like they were made like almost glittery green.
Well, I've seen some photos that you took and videos, and it looked like it was hand painted.
Peacocks.
Yeah. In gold on a green background on the walls.
Yep.
And also the bathroom or the tub is quite special.
It's very old school. A lot of wood in there, and there's a huge terrace, like balcony terrace, on the one floor up from the ground.
Oh, wow.
So I asked him how much it was. He said it's between 800 and 1,000 euros. We're in the peak of summer, so it's about half the price of Plaza Athénée from the 8th.
Which one would you rather, if you had to pick?
One night?
Yeah. And let's say they're the same price.
I'd say the Plaza.
Yeah.
Because I feel like you get the full experience. And I sense that maybe the L'Hôtel is just a normal hotel.
Yeah, and it
with
just
a great
happened
room.
where he happened to have lived.
Anyway, if you're an Oscar Wilde fan, check that one out. After this, I went and met Baxter, and then we all went and met in the Luxembourg Gardens. And we've got to give a bit of time to this before we scoot through the rest of it, because I ticked off a bucket list item. So did you, actually.
Yeah!
For me, I think I've talked about this on the podcast before. Wouldn't say enthusiast, but I play chess. Especially, was it during
You're
the
chess
lockdown
head.
when I was
You call yourself
bored?
chess head.
What? No, I don't. But I've always wanted to join in one of the games at the Luxembourg Gardens. And I'm not great at chess, so I've always been intimidated because people watch. It's people watching in a whole different way. I'm like, you put your intelligence out there.
On display.
For strangers. And I was like, we're doing it. We're doing it, Lina. I have to go and do it today. And
I was nervous for you.
I was. I don't know if I was
Not when you
nervous.
sat down, but
No.
up until the moment that you sat down, it's kind of more scary to find the table.
Yeah, because it reminds me of when I went to play basketball
I just thought the
6
same
years
thing.
ago or 7 years ago
Yeah.
when I came to Paris. You're like, can I play? And you
How
don't
does
know.
it work?
Yeah. And there was an older couple sitting there chatting after their game, and I was waiting for them to acknowledge me, and they didn't. So I just went up and I said, hey. How does this work? Can I play? And they said, jump in, youngster. And I played against a guy who must have been some kind of savant as well.
Oh, yeah.
Because he crucified me.
He
You know
crushed
what?
you and your ego on the same
Oh, yeah.
on the same day.
He was like a boa constrictor squeezing the life out
Oh,
of me.
wow.
And the worst bit is there was this older guy next to me. Like, over my, like, I'm comfortably close. Like, if I was at an ATM putting in my PIN number, I'd be like, back off, dude.
Yeah.
Like, that's how close he was.
Was he kind of like in movies or like cartoons, you get like the little like devil and the
He was
angel
the
on the
devil
shoulder?
as well. He wasn't helping at all. The opposite, because you know what he did?
Was he trash talking?
Almost, like, whenever I did a bad move, I was going to say a move, but I guess it was when I did the bad move. He went, oof.
You're like, I know, I know.
But I mean, I was self-conscious. I saw you were taking pictures. Augusta, our photographer, rocked up and started taking pictures. So I was aware of so I'm making excuses. I got crushed. But it was very
Anyways,
humbling.
ticked off a bucket list.
Ticked it off
item.
the list. It felt great to play. And then...
Do you think you'll do it again?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah?
Yeah. I think so. Why not?
Yeah.
It was nice.
Bring
it was
your own
cool to chat to
pieces.
them as well. It was nice to chat to
Yeah, it's
strangers.
nice.
But then we went and sailed boats.
Yeah. And that was my bucket list item.
The pond of the Jardin de Luxembourg.
Yes. And
With
these
huge fish. I had no
massive
idea.
fish.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they kind of went like dolphins after the boats, you know, jumping up and down.
And the boats
All
are
to
about
scale.
they're about the size from your foot to your knee. No matter how tall you are, they're about that size.
Foot to your knee.
And
Yeah,
you
bigger than you think.
Yeah, you rent them for like €3, push them out with a stick, and they sail across the pond.
Yeah.
Did you enjoy?
Yeah, I did. I mean, you just kind of push a boat. It's cute.
Yeah.
But it's, you know.
There's no intellect on display.
No, thank goodness.
Okay, we've got to move on, but we got lovely pictures from there. So from here, Augusta followed us along as we went to a bunch of places. Quickmart.
Quickmart.
Yeah, Quickmart.
What's Quickmart?
It's quick and
Quicksand.
smart. Well,
Quick
I
and
can't say
smart.
smart anymore after my performance.
Just quick.
Quick, stupid. But some of the things we did. Treize au Jardin,
Yeah.
the restaurant that we've had events at before. We got some takeaway coffee and cake from there.
So good.
Delicious.
Ugh.
Past the Red Wheelbarrow Bookshop.
And
Set
the
light-
Red Balloon Bookshop, which is their
brand
new
children's
venture.
books. You might be able to find our children's books there in the window usually.
Yeah.
Done events there too, actually. Then we went past the Abbey Saint-Germain, the oldest church in Paris. We got pictures of that too, but go inside.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Just like it's more beautiful than the Saint-Sulpice, but the Saint-Sulpice has those big Delacroix paintings that are really beautiful.
So
too.
that's pretty cool.
Go to both. They're across the road, guys. Come
I mean,
on.
it doesn't take that long.
Then we continued on to one of your favorite places in the world. Although I've got a bone to pick with you about.
15-year-old me, my 15-year-old me had this as that was just up there as the best place in
We're
the
talking
world.
about Ladurée.
Yes.
And I got a bone to pick with you about. Because
Go on then, bring it.
Lina's like, we have to go to my favorite place in Paris. And I was like, tell me more. And she goes, Ladurée. And I know the story. Fans of this show know the story. So we don't need to get into it in too much detail. But what's the short version?
Well, the short version is that when I was 15, I read this book by Plum Sykes called The Debutante Divorcée.
By the way,
By the way, is awesome.
Someone, a listener to this show, went and bought that book on your recommendation, right?
Oh no, talk about intellect on display.
They messaged me about it. They're like, hey, I got the book.
Oh no.
I'll let you know what I think about it. They never responded again. Is it bad? Are we making fun of it? Is it good?
No, but it's just, chick lit
Okay,
on, steroids.
Okay, yeah. A lot of things on steroids in this episode. And then you'd read about it. And
went, and I managed to convince my family to take me there. Yeah. And we did, and I was just living my best life.
And then when we first moved to Paris, you took me there, and they had this beautiful kind of like almost safari room.
Yeah, it's like
this
colonial tea room in the back.
This is where the bone to pick comes from. Because you're like, this remains my favorite place in Paris. And you said to me and Augusta, the photographer, you said, stop taking photos elsewhere.
Save your film.
Yes. Save your film for what is about to become your favorite tea salon in the universe. And then you made us both blindfold us. No, I'm just kidding. I'm exaggerating. But we get to the Ladurée.
Yeah.
The door's missing to the back bit.
It's very bizarre.
Yeah, so we go upstairs and we're like, this doesn't feel right.
No.
And I said to the waiter, how do we get into the beautiful safari room? And Lina's like over my shoulder sort of nodding and being like, best place in Paris. He goes, that's been closed for 6 years.
I can't believe it.
I can't believe it either.
I literally can't believe it. It's so weird.
Yeah.
I feel like we were there yesterday.
So do you still recommend that Ladurée?
I mean, it's just as any other Ladurées around. I think that was the really nice bit, but... Yeah, sure, it's nice. Still
Good
got
for a
nice macarons.
And
for sure.
They gifted a macaron to our son, which was a very sweet gesture.
Yeah.
Oh, then we went down to the bouquinistes, something we haven't talked about. I've interviewed one on the show before, the people who sell books and postcards and stuff on the side of the Seine in those green boxes. Really worth doing. The first couple of years I was in Paris, I was a bit almost intimidated by them. Because it's like, I can't see any prices. Or they secondhand books.
It's funny how that is always intimidating. It's like, I guess it opens up to conversation. You have to like talk about prices and talk about, it could be a language thing.
Too.
Yeah.
But now I feel a lot more comfortable with it. And I went and I was browsing the postcards. And I've been quietly collecting these 100-year-old postcards, especially the flooding Seine from 1910. And let's do this quickly because we just did so much, it's hard to get through it.
Yeah, I feel like it's a blur.
Yeah, we went to Le Select in Montparnasse, but it's on this side. And it's another of these old famous...
It's just bordering the 14th arrondissement.
Right on the border.
Yeah.
And we had one of those moments where we looked across the road and saw La Coupole, where we went in the 14th. And we're like, whoa, we're right here.
Yeah,
We've done
we're
the
so
full
close.
loop.
Yeah.
And come back here. Le Select on the terrace, beautiful.
Perfectly nice. Pricey.
It was pricey.
Yeah, but perfectly nice.
Yeah.
And yeah, I can recommend it
And
for sure.
It was so nice.
Why not?
It was so nice that we called Brasserie Lipp, where we had a dinner reservation, and tried to push it forward by an hour.
Yeah.
And the guy's like, he goes, "Your reservation is within an hour, sir." And I was like, "Yeah, sorry about that." And he goes, "Either you're here on time or you're not here at all." I was like, "Okay, we'll be there on time."
Sorry.
But Brasserie Lipp is one of these classic. It's directly across from Café de Flore. Beautiful, lovely interior, bustling. It's exactly what you
very
imagine.
efficient waiters.
Yeah, what's what you imagine a Paris brasserie is like. A nice one, not super expensive.
No, but
compared
good
to some of the other
food.
ones we've been to.
You know, I had a nice steak frites.
It was very unusual for you to go for the steak.
I know. I never eat that.
Yeah.
But it was great.
And I went for a kir royale, I think.
Yeah.
And a tuna, some kind of tuna pavé or whatever.
Yeah.
Nice. Really
Yeah,
nice.
really nice.
This is go for the
But
story.
it's a show as well
Yeah, go
when
for
you're
the show.
there.
Yeah.
It's
Beautiful,
just
the interior.
people everywhere, and it's
Yeah.
great.
Yep. Then we went to the prescription cocktail room.
Oh
club.
yeah, I forgot we did that. That was cool. That was a
Really
bit
nice.
like a fortune teller kind of vibe to it, I guess.
For the contrast, we've been going to all
Yeah.
these classic places, so we went to a new cocktail place. Menu where you won't know a single drink because they're all being sort of created on the spot. Delish.
Yeah, really
2
good.
thumbs up.
Perfect.
Then, because it's summer, we're in the middle of summer, like the sun hadn't even set. So we went down to the Pont des Arts and watched the sunset. Like a red sky. It was a perfect,
so nice.
perfect end to the evening.
And as the sun set, we popped over the street
Yep.
and into
Lapérouse for dessert.
one of the absolute oldest restaurants in Paris, I'd say.
I think I first learned about it through John Baxter. Because I asked him way ages ago how he'd spend his final day in Paris.
Yeah.
And it involved going there because they have private rooms where the waiters don't come in unless they ring a bell or they knock first.
Yeah, there's like a little doorbell.
Yeah, and they got these old mirrors that are all scratched up, allegedly from when women were testing to see the veracity, the authenticity of the diamonds they'd been gifted by their suitors.
Ah, yes.
I don't
And
know if
all
that's
these
true.
private, there are a lot. So it's a whole building basically on several floors, and it's full of all these private rooms, but it was also bigger rooms where you can eat like normal restaurants
Yeah.
with other people around. But yeah, these small rooms, it suggests a certain type of house back in the day.
Yeah, I wonder if it was. It
Yeah.
must have been
It must have been.
because we've been before a while back. Shout out to Maria.
Yeah.
And I asked the waiter then, I was like, what happens in these rooms? He's like, we don't know. The doors are shut. I was like, oh, okay.
Adds to
Anyway,
the mystery.
very nice place for a dessert and a coffee. But I will tell you this, the 6th is going to lose some points on affordability.
Definitely.
Let's get into the scores.
Okay.
So the scores, I'll remind you that the 7th last week came out on top so far. Let's whiz through these quickly.
Okay.
Strollability.
9.
Me too. Very strollable.
Affordability.
4.
I put 1. It's very
Yeah.
expensive.
It was very expensive.
Very. There was nothing that was like, oh, this is cheap. Even like the Le Select, which could have been like a cheaper sort of terrace.
I think I know
thing.
why I was generous.
Yeah.
Because the main thing to do there, Luxembourg Gardens,
Yeah.
free. Chess, boats, free. Boats €3.
Yeah,
But you're right.
well.
I think you're closer to right on that. Shareability?
10.
Yep, 10.
Touristability.
10.
10.
Accessibility?
9.
I put 10.
Accessibility.
I initially put...
Really?
I initially
But
put...
it's so big.
That's what I thought. And then I thought you could walk one end to the other and you're going to love it.
Okay.
It's a long walk.
Yeah.
I gave 3 10s. Isn't
Okay.
that sick?
Wow, that is crazy.
What does yours add up to?
You know what? I'm looking at my scores and it's exactly like last.
You just
It's the
copy paste it.
It's 39.
I get 43.
Wow, that's good.
82? Wow.
Whoa.
That's leading by far.
Whoa.
I'm not surprised though. 82. Congratulations to the 6th arrondissement.
Well, we have a new leader
Yeah.
on the board.
I'm intrigued if it's going to be beaten.
Yeah, me too.
Because I feel like it's going to get cheaper in the 5th.
Yeah.
We'll see. Time will tell. Time will tell. But look, there you go. 6th arrondissement, plenty good. Go and
So
check
good.
it out. I want to
Loved
do a
it.
few quick thanks and then a ending on a sad note, I'm afraid. But I'll try and keep it positive. The thanks, of course, to everybody who helped make this episode.
Yeah, Augusta for photos.
Charlotte, Eddie,
Press.
Marie, Press, Lina, Oliver.